Hello, and welcome to another Blender Sushi live noding using Blender and animation nodes. Um, Today I'll try to do something different, so it's gonna be super basic kind of explorations of animation nodes, but this time we try to look at how we can use animation nodes with a Blender modifier. So as we know, we could basically create all kind of modifier in Blender, and then we can tweak and adjust any of attributes inside of the modifier. It's kind of, so we can think of animation nodes, it's a bit like drivers in Blender, drivers or expression. Basically you can drive any attribute using another all kind of attributes to create animations. So some people call it drivers on acid. You can call it that way. We can let's have a look how we can use modifier in combination with animation nodes. The easiest will be array modifier. If you use Blender for a while, you must have used array to create like a interesting duplications of objects. Let's say we have a box in the 3D scene. As you know, you can create array and it looks like this, and then you tweak the number. Okay, it's duplicating that objects. Let's hide this first. Duplicating that objects, count number. You can have multiple duplications like that. Yeah, but let's say you want it to duplicate up. So instead of relative offset in X, you want it in the Z. So you have something like that, and of course you can also create another array modifier and then duplicate it in X like that. That's two array modifier on a cube. Really simple, but sometimes you might be wonder, okay, what if I want to have like a kind of like a different count for each of the duplications? Well, you can do that, maybe using Python or driver, some kind of Python scripting. Like, it could be complex, but let's try how to do it using animation nodes. It's kind of like a semi-procedural workflow. Using Blender modifier together with animation nodes, you can get something that looks really complex quite easily. Okay, we can delete the second modifier because we will create the duplications using animation nodes. So we can keep this guy. It's got a count of 10 for the copy. So I'll switch to compositing. Let's save this real quick. Animation nodes when dealing with array. This is actually super basic. I'm just gonna show you. So you could create like something like a sound visualizations, or when you're using the sounds equalizer, you get like this kind of interesting pattern. Let's have a look. We're gonna use animation nodes, create a new node tree. So if we have these objects, and so we can use the object instancer. So we can load this guy. Let's type 5 for now. Here we're gonna enable copy full objects and dip copy, because we're gonna be using the modifier for each of the instances. While this thing is selected, we can loop it, and the shortcut is W, and we can loop through each copy like that. And so let's transform each of every objects to the side. We can use object transform output, the locations. We can pipe in our objects like that, and we can use the index plug into the location. And so we just create something that looks like the second array modifier. That we can use math just to multiply the step distance like that. So we still have the original copy. So we have the cube. This is our original, the master object, and we can change the count number on the master. So the master have a count of 15. We can move it to the side. That's the master, and this is the copies, all 5 copies that we created using animation nodes. Let's save this, and normally we hide the master and just be dealing with the copy. Let's say we have like 8 copies. You see how the new copy is looking at the master, but the previous one doesn't. I think that might be a bug, or no, you probably need to reset the sourcing, reset source data. Yeah. So now next you can do, of course, for each duplicated object, you see each one of them has modifier in it, which means you can actually play with the count for each of the instance. You can control them manually, and so each individual copy will have a different count of array. That way you can have like a really cool effect right away. So how can we do that? We can use the attribute output, object attribute output. I like this node a lot because it's really powerful. You can access almost any attribute that you can key here. Usually, you know, by if you're right clicking on an attribute, or you just hover on it, and you can see, okay, in Blender, so the data is located inside bpy.data.objects, what the name of the objects, and this is type of modifiers array, and the name of attribute is relative offset displays, and this is actually a 3 values. This is a vector values. Yeah, you can modify each and every input right here. So in our case, we just simply gonna access the count. So you can right click and then copy data path and then just paste it in here. So by doing that, and then we're telling animation nodes, okay, for each and every object's modifier, please do tweak the value. Let's try to put in our own value. It's asking for integer value, so it can be 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, now I'm actually changing the array modifier attribute per object copy, but of course we want something that's more random. So let's try random number. Random number will give you random value between the min and max, and of course you can use the seed, and you put it in the number. It's gonna auto convert to integer, I believe. So let's say if the minimum is 4 and maximum is, let's say, 10, random value, or maybe 12. Okay, so you have like a random value of array count per object copy. So you already can see what's happening. You can hide the master, move it to a different layer, and you have this guy. Let's save again. Okay, and you can increase the instance copy as much as you want, maybe 50. Interesting that it disappeared. Maybe it doesn't like when I put the master on different layer. Well, okay, let's try again. So random value, and you have something that looks like equalizer. It's like a fake equalizer. Of course, in animation nodes you can. There is a node that's dealing with sound. It's not dealing with MIDI, but it it uh, it can evaluate like a wave sound for each what is it, waveform or frequency, and you can apply the frequency to drive each and every instance, whatever you like actually. So that's really cool. You can try that. You can also try something different, a little bit different. Instead of using just array, you can have like a curve modifier as well. So you have like a circular copy. Probably I can do it real quick. So we maybe kill this guy. Whoop, still there. Check. Maybe get rid of this. Okay, now we turn off the animation nodes for now. Let's get back to this master guy here, and let's create a curve, circle, Alt G, increase the scale like 5, and back to object level. We have this guy and this guy, and so while this master is selected, we can use the curve modifier and then specify that Bezier circle curve, and then you can see there's nothing happening because we actually want it in X. I believe that's the case. Yes, and we don't want the Z. So this is more like a Blender trick. With the count, yeah, you can have something. So you can have equalizer that looks like that. That can be interesting as well, but for our case, I wanted to fit the curve like that, and then depending on the offset, we could have something that looks like that. So there must be like a math to ensure the number of the offset to match it, so that the array copy perfectly spaced to fit the curve like that. So let's leave it just like that for now. What I will do next is, so with the location, let's see, we have instance. Okay, we can duplicate this is our master objects. Remember, we are referencing the Bezier circle in this tool modifier. Just remember that. So I will source that guy. It creates the instance already. And for the location, let's see. Probably we need to, yeah, okay. That's kind of what I want. Maybe make it 10 copy for now. Small number when you're still testing. So you have this guy, and just like before, you can adjust the count. The count doesn't seem to be working at this moment. Because we are no longer using the count, but in order to adjust thing, we need to use the relative offset. So just right click, copy data path, paste it into this guy. Value has wrong type. It's actually expecting 3 numbers. So we need a combine vector, plug that in, it disappear, but you can then adjust this guy. The bigger the number, the more spacing you have between the copies, and of course the curve modifier will then place them. So let's see if there is some kind of number. So this is the variable, is it all depends, very dependent. Well, we can roughly tweak the number until we get what we want. I believe you have, let's say in this case we have 3. What if we have 6, 3, maybe 4.5, and not exactly, but so the value between 1 and 5, value between 1 and 5, just random number. In this case, we just value between 1 and 5 should give us quite interesting results. So maybe 2 to 1 and 4, 1 and 3. So if you tweak this, you can have like something that looks like a staggered brick or something. Let's try. Yeah, more random. There. yeah, so see, that's interesting. With Bezier circle itself, now you can actually use animation nodes and create like a different circle to deform each instancer. That's definitely something you can try yourself. But yeah, so this just a really simple example showing how you can create something like this. Of course, you could kind of emulate the array modifier itself inside animation nodes. However, that will create a little bit complexity that I think not really necessary. If you can think outside of the box, let's say if you're using like the usual Blender workflow with the modifier like array or others, you can definitely tweak, create instance and tweak each and every modifier inside animation nodes, and just by doing that you have like a complex result really quick. Okay, that's I guess that's enough for today's live noding. Until next time, if you like the video, please subscribe and I'll make more videos.